Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode where we take a look at some mediums and I break down some of the things that they say to help each and every one of you to be able to unravel the tangled web, which is what mediumship has become. However, that being said, right, a lot of the time you'll see us highlighting fraudsters and scammers. This gentleman over here is mint. Right? And I mean, Matt, no offense by doing this video, and hopefully every one of you will see this isn't an attack. This is basically me showing each and every one of you that whilst Matt has a different opinion to me, it doesn't mean to say he can't do it. Each and every one of you, as mediums, aspiring mediums, need to know that you are unique. You are going to have a difference in opinion. But what I would like to do is what really caught me eye with this one. And like I say, I love Matt, I love Tyler as well. They're great. I'm not doing this to be nasty. I'm doing this to show each and every one of you that not every medium has to be right. In some respects, they are going to have a difference in opinion. That doesn't mean to say one medium is better than the other. And every one of you who follow my channel or follow Matt's channel or follow any of our medium at all, don't think for 1 minute that you have to conform to their way of thinking or their way of doing it. Be yourself. Be unique. That's all Spirit want you to be. They want you to become the greatest version of yourself, the greatest medium that you could potentially be. You can't be that person by living in somebody else's shadow. And that's why I thought, right, it would be nice for a little bit of a change to do a video where Matt's explaining about evil spirits and I'm giving you a difference in opinion, a different perspective to the way I've been taught. That's not to say Matt's wrong, please, okay? It's just to say that it's all right to have a difference in opinion. You shouldn't have to throw stones at people. You shouldn't have to try and be the better person. Remember, your mediumship journey at the very, very beginning, if you are following the How to Become a Psychic Medium series, you will see that working on your own ego comes paramount. Therefore, we should be able to critique of our people. We should be able to look at their work and think, well, actually, is it right? How does that sit with me? A lot of you who watch this channel, I tell you this all of the time, right? If you are watching a video that you just simply don't agree with on my channel, I tell you it's time to leave. And that's not because I'm a horrible person. It's because when the time comes that you don't no longer want to, absorb the information I'm giving you, I'm no longer the tutor for you. There is going to be thousands of other tutors. A lot of you might like the rainbows and the twirly lights and the fairies and all of these different things. I'm not that person. I'm a realist. I take mediumship, I break it down into little pieces and build it back up so the everyday person can use it effectively and efficient to contact their loved ones in spirit. I demystify it. That's why a lot of people hate me. A lot of people don't like the way that I do it because I don't make it special. I don't make it magical. It doesn't need to be that. The word magical, the word special, is what takes it out of the grasp of each and every one of you because you believe that you don't have these gifts. You believe that you don't have the special powers that people like me and Matt and Tyler, they're absolutely great. You believe that you don't have it, so you don't ever try it. And that's what is so frustrating to me. So here at Help Heal Serve, that's why we are here changing it. We are going to ensure that each and every person being on this planet, human being spirit, I say, not person being, are going to be able to do mediumship. And I think it's only fair to show you how mediums will perceive energy differently, how mediums have cultivated their own unique, strong understands, because there's no argument at Matt's abilities. Yes, you're always going to see people, you're going to hear people who say that he's a scammer, but you're going to hear people who will say that about me. You've got to have haters. You can't just have lovers. You're doing something right if you've got haters and lovers. You've got to initiate some sort of emotion in the person to know that you're doing something right. Because if each and every one of you just come on this channel, you had no feeling towards me, you didn't love us, you didn't hate us, and if you do love us, remember to smash that like button, and also, if you love the spirit world, subscribe. But you've got to spark some sort of a reaction. And it goes without saying, why don't we get into this? This video is going to be about, we might even do more of these videos, and if Matt sees them at some point, he might want to come onto a podcast and we might even speak and show you that, mediums can have a difference in opinion and they can still help mankind. So many times, right? There's so many mediums, right? And I know I'm going off on one here, right? But there's so many mediums who initially they start their mediumship journey to help mankind. They want to help every living soul. But then they realize how simple mediumship can actually be. They realize how simple it can be. And they get scared. They don't want anyone else to do it because they start profiteering. They start saying, and before anyone says medium shouldn't be paid, what on earth planet are you living on? Of course, medium should be paid. I believe they should be paid for the evidence. You shouldn't be paying a medium if they're not bringing forward evidence. In the same respect, you wouldn't go to a garage and pay mechanics for not fixing your car, would you? When you look at it like that, you're paying for a service. If you're getting that service, you pay it. You're not entitled to anything on this life. You're not entitled. Mediums don't put the time, the hard work, the effort. Countless hundreds of hours goes into refining you as a person. We don't go through all of that just to give you something. That's not how the world works. We have to have something in return for our hard work and efforts. And whilst, again, it's not about the money, you've got to understand, mediums are human beings. I know people look at them like the gods and people look at them like but they still have to pay their bloody bills. They still have houses, they still have cars, they still have a livelihood that they've got to be able to financially accommodate and maintain, to get to venues, to be able to help more people, of course. So anyway, right, that was a little bit of a rant. I think what we're going to do is now, we're going to come into this video, let us just see what it's actually called. Let me get this right. The shocking truths about evil spirits exposed by Matt Fraser tells all. Right, let's have a little look in Matt. If you do see this, I hope you realise that I do love you. I'm not being nasty.
That don't agree. But I want to tell you that from years of...
I'm one of those people that don't agree here. And I'll tell you the reason why I don't agree with evil spirits. What you choose to accept is what you welcome into your world. The power of suggestion is very strong in human beings. Unfortunately, sometimes we can trick ourselves. Now, when we are speaking about evil spirits, right, mankind are liken the spirit world to the human world that we all coexist in. Okay, you have the chi, the chong, the yin, the yang, you have the positives and negatives, you have the ups, the downs, the lefts, the right, all of these different things. Yes. But hear me out, my friend. We are not speaking about the materialistic world. Why do you think, as a spirit, as a soul, we come and accommodate a human vessel to go out our earthly existence? Why is it? It is because we are going through our life journey. Therefore, does it make sense to be able to experience everything we can in the materialistic in spirit? No, that's why you come here, for the experience. There are things that you can do on this planet that do not and you can't do in the spirit world. I mean, you have a body for a good start, isn't it? A lot of people think that the spirit world walk around in that human form, cutting grass, lowing the mown, all of these different things. Whilst there might an evidence come to you and show you a glimpse of who they were from a past life, that doesn't mean to say that there's loads of wandering people around in the sky. That's not how it works. Evil spirits come from poor understandings and bad teachings. And now, for 1 minute, I'm just giving my opinion on this, right? You can all make your own mind up by the end of this video, which I think will be quite fun, actually. You know, I think it'll be quite fun. But the idea that, well, let us break it down a different way, right? Evil spirits, right? What happens, right, when you are living out your earthly existence? What is it that not only controls you, that gives you the ability to write a free will, which you are going to make good decisions and bad decisions, but what else controls you in terms of your temperament, your anger, your logic, your sight, all of these different things? What is it? Ask yourself the question, as a human being, what is it that makes you go through these? And I'm not on about your emotional turbulence, the standpoint that you are currently in, where you are emotionally at. The brain, you got it right. If you got the brain, you got it right. So if that's the case, right, and we can prove that the brain is what gives us the right to free will, the brain is what allows us to make conscious decisions, subconscious in most cases as well. If we can prove that all comes from the brain, and the brain is a product of the materialistic flesh, then where does that align with the spirit world? Because it's not of spirit. There is no place for evil in the spirit world. That's why I work with demons. A lot of you, right? A lot of you are like, oh my God, get the holy water. Matt will love you. Matt will love you. Jordan's evil. I'm not. I'm unbiased. I have a good understanding. I work with energies that most of mankind will never ever want to work with. And it's not because I've been selected, I've been chosen, I've been anointed. It's because I have a different way of looking at it. Everyone bases their opinions and notions on what demons are from entertainment. You base it on from religious scriptures. You base it on passed down from generation to generation, information, rather than trusting your own intuition, trusting yourself. Remember, being unique and stepping into your own power, so to speak, is about being the authentic version of yourself. Therefore, I don't read mankind's literature. I don't need mankind's books, mankind's theories, ideologies. A lot of you might say, well, actually, you should read some, but I genuinely don't need it. I've gotten to this stage in my life and not needed to do that when it comes into mediumship. I've trusted my instincts, and I've also got the results to prove it. When it comes to evil spirits, I hope each and every one of you, right, can see that you could be the most despicable human being on this planet. You could be absolutely horrible whilst you go out your earthly existence, but the second you return back into energy form, whilst you take facets of the person that you were for going through the Akashic records, going through the soul review, basically, effectively, right, learning the person that you are. Some of the terminologies that I will speak of are what you all say, because if I didn't say it, then you wouldn't have a reference point to what we're speaking of. But when we are going through what mankind called the soul review, where you are sitting and the spirit world are going to come up to you and going to go, oh, hello, Mr. Coburn, can you come? I can see you number 20 in the queue. Do you want to just come and say? What a human way of thinking about it. Soul contracts, goodbye. That's another man-made concept. Everyone likens the spirit world to the human world. And I get it. It's a reference point. It's familiar. It's familiar, isn't it? It's a go-to to each and every one of you. But remember, why is it that we are here living out this experience? Because we aren't in spirit. It's the polar opposite. You don't have evil. You could be the most evilest person on this planet, right? And we've proven, we know, that the evil tendencies of a human being, the narcissistical traits, all of these horrible things, anger, jealousy, greed, hatred, all of this is conditioned, fabricated within the mind, woven. We can prove that as the human body fails and the brain ceases to exist, then what happens? The energy part of us, the soul, which resides in the stomach area of all living beings, will return back over to energy. Instant transition. Therefore, if you, for example, your name was John and you were a despicable person, you were a horrible human being, and you said on your deathbed, I am going to come back and terrorize the living, well, there's one thing that you would be missing there, John. You can't. The second you return over in the energy, the ugly humanistic traits, the jealousy, the anger, the greed that you are feeling because of the environments that you have been through, all of the conditioning that you've endured through your social circles, it could be emotional roller coaster that you've been on, the turmoil that you've endured, many different situations. I'm not going to bore you with it. But all of that which has conditioned you into the being that you are is no more. Therefore, John wanted to come back as he was living, but as he died and ceases to exist in a materialistic plane, he cannot. There's a little bit of an insight for you. I hope you can see why I'm going with that. And yes, I know probably a lot of you are like, oh my God, you were with demons. Yes, I do, and I prove of it time and time again. The amount of places I go, or the amount of paranormal investigations that I do, and you'll see them coming through. It's amazing. They're my family. The spirit world are my family. The realms, I call them the realms. I don't refer to them in the stereotypical terminology that mankind share, being demons. I think it just that word is there to incite fear into the forefront of each and every one of your minds, because through not knowing, you welcome fear. When you are scared, guess what happens? Then you need to protect. When you need to protect, guess what happens then? You fall into mankind's little money-making scheme. A good understanding supersedes the notion of protection. So many people say this to me all of the time. Do you not protect? Do you not cleanse the energy? Listen, if any one of you who find my channel, right, believe that you can protect from an energy unseen, unstoppable, our human minds are a minute fragment contained within the collective energy. Seriously, you couldn't protect. If energy wanted us gone tomorrow, every single person would be taken off this planet. Fun fact, why is it, right, that you don't hear that there are families being terrorized in the local neighborhood when they're having a nice meal at a bar? Or people who are going on the bus get terrorized on their way to work by unearthly spirits? No, it doesn't happen, does it? I'll tell you the reason why. Mankind are the ones that you need to protect from. Mankind are the evil species. It's not the spirit world like you've been led to believe. The spirit world are there to help. They can aid you, they can guide you, they can usher you through some of the most troubled times. And even if you don't believe in them, they're still ushering you. Anyway, right. So I know Matt just started off there. I was just like, no.
Of talking to the other side, from years of talking to the spirits, I can tell you a couple things.
And I fully do believe, right, that Matt has spoken to the other side but what you've got to remember is what you choose to accept is what you welcome into your world. Matt has come from a family who has been involved in this. I can almost 100% certainly guarantee you, at the very, very early stages, some of the notions and the practices and the rituals, the humanistic rituals, would have been passed on to Matt. So, for example, let's just say a hypothetical example here, right? You're going to have somebody who has a great-great-grandma who's a psychic, a spooky psychic. And she, before she'd done any sort of psychic work, she'd always say a prayer of protection, she'd light a candle and she'd do this, she'd sage the room. Then the younger generation go, well, actually, I'd quite like to do that. I'm quite intrigued. And she's like, oh, you have to do it like this. You need to do it like this. You need to be careful of the evil spirits. Now, straight away, we've been catapulted through not having an understanding into fear. We are already, without listening to our own intuition, our own instincts, we are already following other people's advice. And this is where mediumship has gotten so wrong. Because everyone is born a medium. You are all born mediums. What I can do, you can do. What you can do, I can do. Right? Yes, you might have male and female sex in many different ways to identify in this day and age, right? But the premise of it is we are all human beings. We are all the human species. Therefore, we can all do something. What sets us apart are the understandings. The understandings are what make us be able to communicate effectively and efficiently, or to look like a laughing stock. That is literally this. That's literally the difference.
There is both a good vibration and a bad vibration, meaning that not all souls actually go to heaven.
Right. So, I mean, let's break this down. So, good vibration and bad vibration. What you've got to understand is the spirit world are vibrations, 100%. We have 7 realms in total on this planet. We have the spirit world being realm 1. If you think of an onion, the spirit world are the core of that onion, the pure, the raw, the energy. Then wrapped around that onion, we have many different layers to that onion. Yes, you've probably peeled them before and your eyes have watered. Well, these additional layers are what I refer to as the realms. These are energies that have not lived earthly existences. They do not need to. They have many different things behind the scenes that they do. They live out life like what we do, but in a very different way. They do not steal your soul. They do not need to take your life. They do not cause you problems in your life. Fun fact, right? And I'll let you in on a little secret here, right? And the person won't mind us saying this, but I went to a shop one day. It's a couple of months back, right? And it was at a time when there was some sort of a planet alignment. The Mercury retrograde, that was it, right? And I don't believe in any of that nonsense. I literally don't believe in the next new big thing that mankind have. I don't believe in any of that because everything is, it's like the news. There's always something new to keep you hooked and intrigued. And I don't like that. I like it to be basic and simple so the everyday person can understand. And anyway, I was stood in the shop, right? And I know a lot of you might hate my opinion on that, but that is just it. I don't get in that facade. I don't get involved with it. I don't need to. And this person in the shop says, I'm having loads of bad luck at the moment. I think it's because of the Mercury retrograde. What would you recommend? I says, oh, what's been happening, if you don't mind us asking? Well, 3 weeks ago, I fell out with me boyfriend. Then a couple of days after that, this happened. And I think it's because the Mercury, I'm 100%. He says, what can you recommend? And the wanting some sort of a potion, a solution, a theory. I says, stop believing it. Because the more that you put your mind into it being the Mercury retrograde, you are manifesting bad things to happen. Not because they were always going to happen anyway, but we are going to be looking and clinging to it as an excuse. Oh, I'm feeling bad today. I'm not going to go to work. It's because of the Mercury retrograde. And I know a lot of you, right, have been conditioned to believe that that's just not the case. And there is such things. And there are such things as spells. And there is such things. And listen, each to their own. You believe in all of that sort of stuff. I'm not a spiritual person. I never ever claim to be. Never ever will be. I like to see facts. I like to base my words on evidence, which I always do. I back up everything that I say. And I can only go off my experience. Don't for 1 minute think that if you believe in all of these different things, crystals and all of that, that you have to, you should listen to me. No, do what you feel comfortable with. But it just shows you how big, right, in some people, the power of suggestion can be. The more you tell something, the more you tell yourself something, the more you start to believe it. The more you start to believe it, the more delusional your outlook will come. You will be wrapped up. And this is why mankind love it, right? Because think about protection, right? I can offer you, I've created a problem, right? Because there's somebody like me comes onto a channel and I'll go, huggity, boogity, woogity, woogity. I'm going to cast a spell on all of you. Woo. And to the YouTube bot that's watching, I'm not casting a spell and I'm not claiming to. It's an example. Then what do I do next? Every one of you look at me in a position of authority. You all look at me because you see the work that I do. You all look at me because you come for the teachings. You then start to freak out. I then say, well, I'm going to offer you a solution. I'm going to offer you a prayer of protection, but it's going to come at a charge because obviously it takes so much time. How many people buy into that ideology? And I know there's a lot of you laughing going, oh, well, that doesn't happen, Jordan. Surely that doesn't happen. Come on. You're just saying that. It happens. Like, seriously, my friends, it actually happens.
What I want you to know is that when being a medium, you've learned this. And here's the reason why. When I channel the other side, I can open myself up to all different energies and all different vibrations.
For those of you who don't know what Matt is talking about there is channeling the spirit world. When we are talking in a mediumistic capacity, when you are channeling the spirit world, it is a very simple process that takes place. The spirit world will send you information, very much like a phone. Let's go over to my mobile phone, my spare mobile phone. This mobile phone, right, has one primary purpose. It serves me. If I wanted to ring my good friend Ian, then what would happen in those moments? My intent, my thought, my focus would go into this device. I would then press the numbers, click call. We're all familiar with that. We all know how to make a call in this day and age. Let's turn that analogy around. Let's make the human being the mobile phone for the spirit world. What we are actually doing is as a medium, when we want to connect to the spirit world, we are the mobile phone The numbers that we are typing are going to be your intent. You are going to press the numbers to whether the spirit world, the angelic realms, all of these different things. You are going to type that number and you are going to press call. That is sending out your signal to the spirit world. Therefore, that engages in the spirit communication to take place. The spirit world will then send you information which your Clair senses will decode. You will then articulate that as part of being the conduit to the message. That's what Matt's speaking about there for each and every one of you, just in case you weren't fully aware.
But being a medium, I grew up with a psychic mom and a psychic grandmother that...
There we go. And right, right. I said this at the beginning. I've not watched this video before, right? And a lot of the time, this is what will happen. And that's not a bad thing to any one of you who are watching, right? That is not a bad thing. In fact, that's really good. You've got a supporting, loving family who, you know, my family was loving when I was growing up, but the problem is they had no inkling or idea about what the spirit world was. And I was seeing spirit from the age of 6. I had nowhere to turn. I had nowhere to talk to. And that's why we created the message of help, heal, serve, to help each and everyone on this planet to understand that spirit communication is not just normal. It's okay. You shouldn't be ashamed of it. You shouldn't be scared of it. But it's interesting how Matt has a long family line of individuals who've worked with spirit. Now, what would be really interesting to me, and I would love to know this, right? I'll probably never ever know the answer to this. But had Matt have not had that support, would he still be of the understanding that there are evil spirits in the spirit world? Because yes, you could argue and say, well, if he followed traditional teachings, it's logical. But if he just trusted his own instincts and he didn't have any sort of pointer, I mean, he might have not had reference, he might not had pointers, he might do it his own complete way. But it is interesting for me as a person because I'm a people person. I like to watch, I like to learn, I like to observe different people. And it would be for me very interesting to see how it all started out for me. Did he follow in the family traditions? Which to me, that is a little bit of a shame. Because whilst he's successful anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But it would have been nice to see the flower blossoming rather than kind of just following a certain narrative, staying in the shadows, so to speak, and following in the family traditions. It would have been good to see him just come out of his shell and just to that's my personal opinion anyway. I mean, I can't really see how he's massively successful. I mean, most mediums can only dream and wish to get to where Matt is. So I'm not seeing anything negative about him, but I do believe it would be interesting to see if he didn't have that sort of family connection at the beginning. Somebody likes of me, for example, I'm not a people person. I don't know if any of you have realised. I like my own company. I've always been quite isolated in my thoughts. Scary place to be. That's what my psychiatrist says. I'm only joking. The tablets work. Oh, well, I've stopped taking them. Just joking. But for me, right, I see myself as I've had the best opportunity. And when I say that, right, a lot of you will be like, well, what do you mean you had no support? I've kind of had to work this out myself. I've not needed anyone's interjections. A horse designed by committee is no longer a horse. When you have multiple people's interjections, it no longer becomes your own idea. So whilst I had it hard at the beginning, I think that served me a lot better than having little bits of information from here and this information from here. That's why, like, I'm not welcome in any spiritualist churches or anything like that, because they start singing, they start saying hymns and all like that, and I'm like, listen, have you heard your voices? The spirit will do not want you to sing to them. Let's wake up. Let's stop this charade now. They don't like it. But it's because they've been conditioned to be like that. They've been conditioned to believe that that is the normal meta. Because all mediums conform, don't we? We're all the same. Of course we're not. We're all unique. Some of us set standards.
That warned me from when I was younger. And their advice to me was never speak to the evil souls. Because these are souls that didn't transition on into heaven.
Oh, right. So let's talk about this for a second, right? Now, You're all going to hate me for saying this. Matt's probably going to hate me. Mankind, maybe even baby Jesus is going to hate me. But heaven and hell are human concepts. We have a universal energy that each and every one of you will return to, whether you're good, whether you're bad. Listen, I fully agree that on this planet, right, there should be people who are punished beyond this life. But unfortunately, that's not the way that it works. You don't have hell, you don't have heaven. You have, like we said before, the 7 realms, spirit. Each and every one of you, right, when you think of energy, because the spirit world showed me this, and a lot of you might find it difficult to imagine all of us returning back to one big bubble. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use some props for this. So yeah, you can see too, he has Scarlet and he has me over crystal ball. You kind of think of this giant crystal ball being the spirit world. And when each and every one of you think of there being thousands and thousands of souls in spirit, you're going to think of thousands. This is the soul. You're going to think of thousands of these inside of you, aren't you? It's not the way it works. What happens is the soul is going to transition back over into energy and become part of the oneness. A lot of you might not agree with that, but that is the way that I was taught. And when you think of, because I was like questioning spirit, I was like, well, that really does, it makes sense, because originally I thought that there would be like loads of little humans, like spirit humans, silhouettes of humans walking around this big dome and shopping complexes and stuff like that. But when you realize that each and every one of you come from the same energy, you don't go to hell, you don't go to heaven. They are all manufactured, sculpted by the fingers of man, woven into the time of tapestry of history. Whichever person has the biggest ego will change and doctorate the way that this book looks. Now, we're speaking about religion, yeah, because this is where ultimately heaven and hell come into it, isn't it? There's many different religions, they all depict the same sort of thing. But let me stop a second there and let's just unveil it a little bit more. Could this be mankind once again controlling? If you be good, you're going to go to heaven, my friend. You be bad, there's a special place for you in hell. Social conditioning. It's making people conform. It's setting people into, in all fairness, right? Let's be completely honest. Going back to baby Jesus times, riding donkeys round and all of the biblical times, you needed law and order. The Bible would have been good guidelines. There would have been many different religions that would have been probably good guidelines. I'm not going to say all religions are good guidelines, because there's some that I completely don't agree with. Different video for a different day. But even religion in a nutshell, religion is there to control you. So it's not so ludicrous when you think about there being a heaven and a hell. And when you break it down and you think, actually, heaven and hell is there as control measures. That's why I don't agree with the concept of heaven and hell. I get it all, right? Matt wrote books on heaven and hell. I mean, you know, it comes with the line of work that we do. Working with spirits, people like to think of their loved ones in spirit. And for those of you who are like offended by the fact that I've just said that your loved one isn't in spirit, like isn't in heaven or isn't in hell, if you didn't like them, they are with you by your side with each and every breath that you take, with every milestone you overcome. They are by your side, chaperoning you through some of the most troublesome times that you may have on this planet. Don't think of them as being up there or down there. They're with you now. And to those of you who are like, oh, well, actually, I didn't like them, they were a horrible person and I'm scared of them, they aren't the same person no more. They don't want... The second that you leave, your soul exits the human vessel. It detaches from all of the humanistic traits that you have developed whilst living your earthly existence here on this planet. It's no more. They are no longer the same person. Yes, they still have that connection to you on a personal level, and yes, they still have memories, but they are no longer that same person. Let's come over. I hope you're enjoying this. Remember to smash like if you are. Bloody hell, we're only 1 minute 8 seconds into Matt's video.
What does that mean? Well, first of all, if souls don't transition into heaven, it means that they did something terrible within their life. They murdered people, they killed people, they did unthinkable evil things.
The problem with that is, right, when you transition over into the spirit world, you can't be penalized for the life that you've lived. You are no longer that person. You don't have the connection to the muggle mind. You don't have any of the earthly traits. Therefore, the soul, a lot of people get this mixed up, right? A lot of people think the soul is going through the journey. The soul is part of the journey. I see the soul as being like a note taker. It's a bit of a snitch, if I'm honest, right? Because everything that you do on this planet, right, is documented. Whilst it's documented so you can learn from it, it doesn't mean to say that you are going to be penalized for it when you leave this planet. The soul is a little grass, a snitch, we call them here in the United Kingdom, and it's going to telltale on you. But that's where it ends. It doesn't make logical sense for the soul. And I know it doesn't have to make logical sense because we're speaking about the spirit world here, and it's only my views and opinions. But we know that a soul is just an energy being, and it is going through and it is documenting everything. And when we go back over into energy, we go through the soul review, we go through all of this different thing. Why would the soul be punished? Ask yourself the question. Why would your soul be punished? Your soul is not you. You are the one who was making the decisions in this life. Your soul is just a backseat driver, and you are driving the car along the journey of life. So why is the soul being punished? You should be the one getting punished, not the soul. That is just the most unfair. The soul's got the worst thing ever, because it's like, oh, well, I couldn't even tell Jordan. Yes, the soul tells you some things through your intuition. But why is it right that the soul would get the backlash for your actions? It doesn't work like that. Again, I've got a difference of opinion. Matt believes what he believes. You can all learn from the difference of opinions here.
And the reason why these souls don't make it to the other side is they did horrible, terrible, evil things here in this world, so evil that not even God can change them. Now, what I want you to know is...
Right, so let's come into this. Let's break this down. I 100% fully would love there to be a place called hell where the most despicable, because we've got lots of them on this planet, where the most despicable human beings were punished. I think it's a good idea. I might see if we can start a poll with Spirit and see if we can get it started. But on a serious note, to believe this notion, you have to believe in religion. You shouldn't have to believe in religion just to see the spirit world or to be part of the spirit world. Religion is something that each and every one of you may find solace in. You may find some sort of retreat within it. But that doesn't define you as a person. Religion can't punish you. God can't punish you. Energy can't punish you. You will punish yourself on the decisions that you make. Sorry, everyone. Sometimes the energy comes in really intense and strong. God can't punish you. God won't punish you. And to every one of you who follow religions, right, I know I come across as being a little bit of I believe in a God. God, not in the way mankind depicts. To me, I believe in a higher force, a higher energy that I prove that I work alongside of with the spirit world. I don't believe in the stereotypical teachings of a God where you have to conform, you have to live your life in a set way to get into heaven or get into hell. What the hell? You are going back to energy irrespective to what you do on this planet. Like, seriously, you've got to. You can't stay within the human vessel unless there's something that you know that I don't know. You have to go back to energy to which you once come from. Believe me, my friends, like, your families are massive in energy. You believe you have big families in this life. Wait until you see how much of a family you genuinely actually have. But yeah, again, like, I can see that Matt's obviously big on religion. And I'm the polar opposite. I'm not big on religion. I don't like what religion brings to the table. I don't like the amount of people who I've helped to become mediums. And they have had such a struggle on their hand because they've been conditioned to believe by their religion that they can't talk to spirits, that they aren't allowed to talk to spirits. They can, you can, and you will. Mark my words.
Is that there is both truth and there's fiction about souls not crossing over. Like, for example, there's a
Right.
lot of people that will.
Right. So, before we come into this, let's just break something down. When the human form ceases to exist in the materialistic plane and you return over back into the energy realm, it is an instant transition. I'll let you all in on a little story here, right? And there's probably loads of you in the comments who've had the same things happen. But I had a very good friend, and I was driving my car one day and I hadn't seen him for such a long time. And all of a sudden, I started crying. I had to pull over my car. And then I seen him in my mind's eye. Using claircognizance, for those of you who don't know. Using claircognizance, I seen him and then I felt panicking. I could feel how he felt in those moments. He was showing us he was trapped. He was trying to get out. And I knew in those moments, I was like, nah, damn, he's gone. Which it's not really much of a problem for a medium, to be fair, because I still talk to him now. I still talk to loads of people in spirit. But in those moments, the emotional side of me, I thought, that's it. I could feel how he felt. He was trapped mentally and emotionally, physically in his body. That was it. He was gone. I knew that he had passed before anyone else, right? So if souls are trapped, if souls are wandering, if souls can't, how is it that there are people like myself who can prove with evidence that the spirit world are active before they're passing? Also, we have another story where one of my family members had passed away and it was me who told the family not to go to the house. If it's a case, right, that the spirit world can only tell you after 6 months, after 12 months, when they've passed over, they go on a little acclimatization, I've heard people say, where it takes 6 weeks to get used to the energy before they can speak. I've heard loads of nonsense. Seriously, I have. And I mean, no offense if this is what you all believe or you share, but it's not something I've experienced. And if I can prove it with evidence, then it's proof to me. It's proof. Every one of you can do it. It's your mindset which is going to prevent you, and it's going to welcome mind blocks. And in that story, again, I told the family to call the police. Don't go into the house because they have deceased, and they were deceased. Therefore, there was not one person on this planet who knew that that person had passed over, apart from me. So that debunks the theory that someone had to tell me. That's 2 different occasions. I've got many more. I always back my words up with stories to kind of show each and every one of you. I know some of you might have been for a reading and the medium says, I'm sorry, I can't get the message to them because unfortunately they've went on holiday or they can't come to the phone right now. And a lot of you might be thinking I'm cold and heartless when I say that, but I've heard mediums actually saying that. It is disgusting. Some of the things that I've heard mediums say why their loved ones, even though it's the medium who's failed in those moments to bring forward evidence of the afterlife, it's the medium at fault. It's not the person, it's not the spirit world, it's the medium who's failed to do their job as a conduit to the message. But anyway, again, I just want to show a difference of opinion.
Come to me and say, Matt, my son passed of suicide. Does that mean that he didn't cross over because he couldn't find peace here in this world?
Individuals who pass over due to suicide, believe me, right, they are still prevalent. They come straight through. Why wouldn't they? They're in energy. Everyone sees there being multi-layers and multi-facets to energy, but there is only the oneness where each and every one of you will return back to. End of. You are all, it doesn't matter how you leave it. Again, it all comes down to what religion you follow, because religion's going to be one of the biggest problems. It's going to tell you if you do something in a certain way, guess what? You're not going to heaven. Why is it like that? It's to condition you. It's to cause fear-based notions. It's there to incite fear into the forefront of your mind.
Or Matt, my daughter was killed tragically. She was murdered. Does that mean that she won't transition on because her killer was never found? These are souls that do transition on into heaven. And in fact, if those souls didn't find peace here in this world, they will find peace on the other side. But what
100% they're going to find peace on the other side, because we don't have any of the ties to the earth plane at all when we go. So I
What I
fully
want you to
agree.
know is this, is that those souls that did terrible, unthinkable things aren't allowed to torture those souls in heaven anymore. For example, I'll share with you that I did a reading one time where it was a murder-suicide. A man had killed his longtime girlfriend, and then after that had taken his own life. And when I channeled her during the reading, she came through and assured me that his soul wasn't on the other side. And after years of suffering abuse here in this world, that soul could no longer hurt her or harm her in heaven.
I mean, what you've got to remember is with that, there is a slight bit of, like, in my opinion, there is a slight bit of facts to that. The soul can't hurt her in heaven. Well, in energy. The physicalities of the human flesh are gone. It's the human vessel, the conditioning that it had, that were causing the physical abuse, the harm, all of these nasty things to the person. Again, we have to come away from the human way of thinking, because if that's the way it works in this life, then surely it's how it works in the spirit world. It's not. You wouldn't come to live out your earthly existence on this planet if it was the same in spirit. It would literally be no point.
Heaven was a place where she was safe and at peace. And this brought her family so much comfort, because for years they watched her struggle with abuse. For years they tried to get her out of this relationship here in this world. And they were so scared that in the afterlife, her soul was still being tormented by this evil soul, evil spirit.
So I'm going to stop you there. So I'll tell you the reason why the evidence has come through like that for each and every one of you who want to know. Because the family needed to hear it like that. It's not because that is what the soul is experiencing. Think of it like this, right? The family are the ones who are grieving. The family are who are wanting the closure, not the person who was in spirit. But by the lady in spirit giving their family closure to help them to heal, that's why that has been said. It's not because that is the only reason that has been said, because the spirit world in those moments knew that this family needed closure. This is something, like what Match just said, something that was tormenting them. Is he still doing it to her now in spirit? Of course not. Their minds are all put at ease. And of course he couldn't anyway, because he doesn't have any means of which of doing it. Remember, all of the ugly humanistic traits are gone when you return back to the energy. It's like that big bubble that I mentioned. For those of you who want to imagine energy and see what it's like energy burgeoning, get bubbles. This is how spirit showed me. You know, when you've got, like, you're doing the dishes and you get bubbles that form, what you do is you get one big bubble, yeah, and you watch, or them little things that you blow into and it makes loads of bubbles. What you do is you blow the bubble and you've got one big bubble, and then blow the second bubble into it and watch how they just merge to become one. That is the same way that energy works. So I 100% believe, right, that the reason why the spirit world coming through in those moments and told that story to the family is like what Match just categorically said. They needed to hear it in those moments. It's brought them peace. It's brought them the healing that they needed. It's not because any other thing, then they needed to hear that. Remember, why did the spirit world come to anyone in any given moment? For the evidence. The clarity, direction, and purpose. That is why they will come through. And that's exactly why they come through in that reading. 100%.
Evil person. But what I want you to know is that that reading changed my life. It opened my eyes because it showed me that there really are two different worlds. So I want to share with you, if souls don't go to heaven, if they don't go to the afterlife, if they were truly evil, where do they go? Well, this is what souls that are evil don't want you to know.
See, I mean, the problem with is I've explained my understandings, right? And again, this isn't like he's right, I'm wrong, or I'm right, vice versa. It's not about that. But I find it so difficult to believe. I know that it's easy to understand that mankind are scared of evil spirits. I know that. Through the fear-based motion, the scaremongering on this planet, of course you're going to be scared of it. But there's nothing secretive to the spirit world. It's actually in plain sight. It's literally using clairvoyance, you can see it, but it's all around we. It's omnipresent, like the air that we breathe, and an abundance of scientific equipment can prove of the energy realm's existence. Don't forget to go and see the latest paranormal video. Well, we're sure I capture shadow men, I capture everything. You know, I don't just speak of the energies I work with, I prove it time and time again. But the fact that we're going on about how the evil spirits are trying to keep things, like, it's, for me, it's just
is that souls that are truly evil, that did terrible things, don't transition on, which means that they stay stuck here in this world. There's no actual place.
What could be happening there, right? And what you've got to remember is, and I say this a lot of the time, right? And I'm going to just go forward there because it's froze on Matt, and you look quite funny there, and I don't think you need to appreciate it as putting on our picture. But what you've got to understand is, right, the realms which we've spoken about, the realms are very different to spirit. When you see things like The Conjuring, Annabelle, Robert the Doll, all of these horror-related movies with using the Ouija boards and stuff, they depict the realms in some cases, or mankind's interpretation of that energy. Sometimes mankind believe they are working with spirits, but they're working with the realms, and they become scared. They can go through some of the things that Matt's saying. It's a clear, common, and very easy mistake to make, especially when you're new coming into it. For me, working with the spirit world, working with realms, working with archangels, working with angels is very, very different. I've refined myself on an empathic level to be hypersensitive. I know which energy I'm working with. However, to somebody who's new coming into it, it's not as easy as that. You know, I've seen spirit from the age of 6-year-old. So for me, I'm 35 now. So I've refined it over years and years and years of using it.
There's no devil with a pitchfork. I've never seen it during readings, but I have been.
One of the funniest things is, right, what you've got to realize is, I said this at the beginning, right? And a lot of you, like, I like the darker side to the spirit world. And you sort of probably guessed that, right? I work with demons, I work with all of that, right? And a lot of you probably think I'm brainwashed by them. And a lot of you think that I don't know what I'm talking about, right? But I love working alongside of the energies I work alongside of. And they help me and I help them. And we work so together. It's like one symphony, right? When you've got a good understanding, it becomes a symphony. But part of working alongside of them, right, because I like things darker, I like the kind of mystique, I like to see things, I'm naturally drawn to the more spookier things where people will be like, oh, like ram's heads, I like all of that sort of. I don't feel a connection to them. I just like the appeal. I like the look of them. I like skulls. I like all of these, like if I had my way, right, when I've got the money and stuff like that, I'll have a big wall behind us and it'll be my studio and it'll just be full of skulls and stuff. I just like that creepy vibe. Not because I'm evil, but just because I like it, the aesthetic to it. I just think it's appeasing. Therefore, when I see the realms, it's normally spooky. Like, so if the last investigation were done, black mass moving. I mean, I've caught loads of them, but this time it was just a black shadow man just walking straight behind the camera watching us. They'll know I love it. I was locked in one of the most haunted locations in the United Kingdom, a jail block where no one likes to go. I was locked in it on my own. I think I'm one of the first documented people ever go in on my own. I was locked in the cell. I was sitting having a good laugh with spirit and that, you know, people have been physically attacked in there. I was enjoying it. I was loving it. And for me, I see the darker side of things. So just like what Matt's just saying there, right? You kind of manifest what you want to see when it comes to energy. Energy is going to cloak an image that you are comfortable with. When I'm working with spirit, I'll see what I want to see from energy. They know what I like to see. They know like how I take more than I do. Like what Matt was saying there. He might not see the darker side of things. He might not want to work with evil spirits or dark spirits or negative entities or all of these different words. He might be so closed off to that idea. I'm not saying that they are there, but because he has a fear-based notion, he doesn't want to see it. He will never see it. So yeah. I can't believe only 3 minutes 25 into this video, Matt.
Told by the other side that souls that do not transition on to the other side actually stay here on Earth. That's the reason why we have haunted places. It's the reason why there's
And the point I was trying to make there, right, about staying on planet Earth, right, and not going over into energy, the point I'm going to try and bring forward is the realms are already here as well. You all live amongst it. So therefore, if it was the realms that you were working with and you become scared because you didn't understand the energy, then technically, yes, you're going to think they're trapped on this spirit. You're going to think that they're trapped on this earth plane because they're with you. But so are the spirit world.
buildings that are
We're the ones that are trapped, not the spirit world, not energy. We are the ones who are confined, imprisoned into the human flesh suit.
haunted.
We are the ones who are
certain
trapped.
places that are haunted.
We can't wait to get back to spirit.
It's
haunted, again, Matt just mentioned there about haunted places. The word and terminology haunted, as soon as you say haunted, it incites fear into people's minds. I've got a really good example of this, actually, right? We just went and done a paranormal investigation at Jedburgh. Beautiful location, loved the staff, absolutely great. Anyone of you who want to go and have authentic paranormal activity, go to Jedburgh Jail. Anyway, it just so happens, right, for this example, the cameraographer, it was our first time on an investigation. Never been before, very scary for a lot of people. Bear in mind, we're going to in a very imposing, haunted location. So she had went round the entire facility and getting loads of B-roll footage for us, getting loads of footage of me, we've done an intro and stuff. And then she ended up speaking to one of the ladies who were running the event, well, like kind of hosting the event for her. And after about 20 seconds of hearing the stories of what she had experienced, the cameraographer just wouldn't go into some of the buildings. And I was like, well, you're going to have to. I need to record it. And then I seen the genuine fear in her eyes. And I was like, I'm not going to put you through it. Give me my equipment. I'll go in on my own. And it just shows you, right? Like, that person didn't mean to, you know, to kind of dissuade her from going in. But because she had had bad experiences, that bad experiences goes on to somebody else. And without I even needing to step foot in the location, in the cell block, which she was going to do, before she even got to set foot in to make up her own mind, she had already been told what was going to happen. She was already thinking of the worst case scenarios. Our mind plays the tricks with us. So yeah, just keep that in mind, everyone. Sometimes you've got to see it yourself and experience it to believe it. Sometimes you've got to form your own opinion based on your experience. Don't just listen to other people's words.
It's because evil likes to be by itself. Evil souls will crawl to the dark.
Matt, please stop. I like to be by myself. You're starting to scare me now, Matt.
Corners of the earth, and I know it's really spooky talking about this, but evil spirits will crawl to the dark corners of the earth where nobody else is because evil likes to be alone. Evil doesn't like to be around happy families, people that are
Are your spirits talking to you about me?
having success, things in their life that are going well. Evil souls, just like evil people, like to be by themselves and like to be in their own misery. And they like to bring other people down.
I'm only joking. Listen, at the end of the day, it's one of those things, right, where I do a lot of videos on this channel, right, and I think I've just got to kind of, since you've mentioned about evil and stuff, you've got to remember, right, the reason why I do stuff like this for each and every one of you, it's not because I'm trying to show Matt as being putting Matt in a bad light. I love Matt. He's great. So's Tyler. But the thing is I can show each and every one of you that it's all right to have a difference in opinion. It's all right to form an opinion based on your own understandings. You don't have to listen to me or to Matt. You can form your own understandings. Look how we do it. We can prove with evidence of the afterlife. Yet we are so different in our views and opinions. It shows that you can be unique. You can be yourself. I'm not trying to bring Matt down. Just in case anyone thinks I'm trying to bring Matt down, I'm not.
So which brings me to my next point of why we shouldn't talk to them. You know, as a
You should talk to all spirits. Come on, let's not be biased about the spirit world.
Medium, my whole goal is this: helping people connect with their loved ones on the other side. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason why I love doing what I'm doing. And that's because when I connect with your loved ones in spirit, your loved ones in spirit want the best for you. Your loved ones in spirit want you to meet your soulmate. They want you to land that dream job. They want you to go into achieve many milestones in your life. They want you to have financial success. They want you to have all the success in the world. Whatever your best life is supposed to be or supposed to look like, that's what your loved ones, your angels, and your spirit guides want for you.
And now I've got to be completely honest, that's why we've got the message of Help, Heal, Serve, to help individuals who are lost, to heal individuals who are suffering from pain and grief, and to also serve the spirit world and realms. I've got to fully agree with everything that Matt just said there. Your loved ones in spirit are there by your side. They are watching you. If they are watching you as you are watching this video, they've probably led you to my videos, into my channel. And you've got to realize, right, that they want what is best for you. They always have, they always will. And let's not get it twisted though, right? They're not there to live your life for you. A lot of people think, well, hang on, why am I... Sorry, everyone. Energy gets tense sometimes. It's like a kettle. I've got to kind of contain it. Some people, right, will say like, well, hang on a minute. My loved ones see me struggling financially. Why haven't I won the lottery? Do they not love me no more? There are no cheat codes in this life. Whilst a lot of you would like there to be cheat codes, there aren't. And that's just the reality of the world that we live in.
Your loved ones, angels, and spirit guides are doing everything they can. They work as a team to help you and push you forward. And that's why, if you look at my YouTube page, all the readings that I do, your loved ones in spirit are focused on a couple different things.
So, going off that, right, like what Matt just said, of course, they're trying to get you signs, synchronicities, they're getting you symbols. A lot of you will be noticing them, and if not of you have probably seen that bird and went, oh, there's me granddad. Because it's your granddad giving you a sign. But most people who have been educated to believe that, look, it doesn't happen like that. We're not good enough. We can't do what other people do. Therefore, you write it off as being a strange coincidence.
They're focused on your personal growth, your personal success, your healing, and they want you to live the best life.
One of the things that I would say though, right, and I think what you'll find is in years to come for every one of you, especially people who follow my channel, is I don't believe that mediumship should have ever been brought in entertainment. I really don't. I think it was mankind who brought it in entertainment because it was entertaining. Mediumship is not meant to be entertaining. It's meant to be heart-wrenching. It's meant to be gut-wrenching. It's meant to give you what you need to know in those moments in the comfort of your own home. And you've got to remember, right, a lot of the time when we are talking about entertainment, it's there to make individuals who are at their lowest of point to become a spectacle. And whilst some could argue and say, well, actually, that person's receiving message there from their loved one. So because they've received that message, now other people want to come. But no, that's wrong. That person is now going to be on the internet for the entirety of their life at their lowest of point, getting a reading that they could have gotten in the comfort of their own home, having a bit of duty, personal care for the person, a little bit of aftercare. I believe personally 100%, and this is where you will find me and Matt are different in our approach, right? I've done thousands of readings. My readings are never broadcast. My readings to me are personal between the spirit world, me, and an individual. When I start to become an entertainer is when I stop mediumship. Because to me, there's a fine line between entertainment and helping people to heal. I don't like to take someone who is in pain, vulnerable and suffering, and then to go, I'm going to put you on camera for my personal gain. Put them on camera because let's be honest, right? Each and every person can become a medium. So this is nothing special. This isn't like nothing, not a gift. It's nothing. I haven't been anointed. I haven't been chosen by the gods themselves. It's just something that we can all do. Therefore, by helping people to realize that it should not be entertaining, it should be about a one-on-one personal experience to help this person overcome the grief that they are going through in those moments. That should be paramount. rather than the content side of it. Now, I fully, again, right, that's my opinion. I love the fact that, Matt does it online and he's got all of these things. He's clearly proud of what he does. But for me, that's where we're a little bit different in our logic. Matt likes to show what he can do, 100%. It's in his name, it's in his title, America's Greatest Psychic or Medium or all of these different things. He's made good money from it, and good for him. He's worked hard. But for me, I want to set a new style of mediumship. This is where it's not about the glam, it's not about the fashion. It's about the everyday person understanding and acknowledging that if you want a mediumship reading, the first port of call isn't to ask someone. It's to do it for yourself. Let's bring mediumship back to the everyday person. Let's bring it back to where it was always intended to be. Don't forget, right, you've got people like Matt, Tyler, I speak highly of them, right? But then you've also got a lot of other people who don't do mediumship. You've seen some of them on this channel. You've seen them when I've done reaction videos to it, and it's like, what the hell? And these are the people that get other mediums bad names. So again, Matt does what Matt does best. You can't argue with that. You can't argue with the fact of why he's chosen that path. But that's why you'll see my channels very different to Matt's channel. Because the day I start looking at this like it's entertainment, and the day I start doing this because I want likes or I want subscribers or I want to be famous, is the day I walk away from being a medium. It's the day I walk away from educating on being a medium, because that's when my moral compass, the way that I have conditioned myself, comes away from it being about helping and it becomes about ego-driven. And I wouldn't want that. And that's not saying Matt's ego-driven. It's just, again, I'm showing you the difference, the different ways that people can work
here on earth. But evil spirits want the complete opposite. In fact, evil spirits and evil souls want one thing. They want to bring you down.
Don't say that, Matt. Don't say that, my friend. I've got a lot of love for you and admiration for you, but don't say that, because now people are going to start believing that. You're going to have hundreds of people, thousands of people who are now going to start believing that everything that's going wrong in their life is because of these evil spirits. I once had this argument with someone, right? And honestly, I genuinely had this argument, right? I'm very opinionated. I get it. But I had went up to one of these like little witch stalls. It's like a little stall that you see, and they had loads of different things on. And anyway, this guy turned around to us and he says, "Oh, you're a psychic medium?" Because I had like my little hoodie on and stuff. And I was like, "Oh yeah." He was like, "Well, you must use this quartz crystal to clear off the ward and evil spirits." And I looked at him and he was like, You need to start. Have you not heard of the dark forces that are controlling mankind from in the shadows?" And I said to him, "I've heard about mankind, evil human beings on the planet, controlling things from behind the scenes, but never about dark forces." And he was like, "Oh yeah, there's loads of dark forces. And like, I can't believe you've never heard of that." I says, "If I heard it, I would shut somebody down." I says, "The only thing that you need to be protecting from here is human beings, because it's the human beings that are doing the damage." He was like, "Yeah, but the dark forces are controlling mankind like puppets." I was like, if you believe that, you are going to believe anything, because you in that moment have given mankind an excuse, rather than accepting that mankind are ill, sick, and in some cases make bad decisions and poor choices. We are now going to give them a get-out clause. "Oh, well, little Tommy went and done loads of heinous crimes. Must have been the dark forces, mustn't it?" How many of you know somebody who's been in serious troubles and they've said, "Oh, it was the voices in me head"? Sometimes it might be, but sometimes it could be a get-out clause. We don't want get-out clauses. Let's stop pointing the finger and aspersions at the spirit world for mankind's own downfall. Mankind are the ones who are sick. Mankind are the ones who are here to refine themselves, to go through the journey of life, to be able to embark on this journey, to try and make some of the good decisions and bad decisions. Unfortunately, through the right of free will, people do make bad decisions.
Spirits do not want you to find happiness or success or your soulmate. And it's the same thing. Remember, evil souls are just evil people that once lived here on earth that now are trapped between this world and the next. And listen.
The problem is right, when we're talking about this world and the next, it's an instant transition, right? For each and every one of you, it is instant. There is no messing around, and you return back energy. I have this question all of the time. People ask, well, when you come back, because many of you will come back onto planet Earth and you'll go through different experiences, right? But you don't pick it. And a lot of you are like, what do you mean? I've been told I've got a soul contract and that's what... No, you don't. You did not pick this life. If you picked this life, then believe me when I tell you this, my friend, you would have made it better, wouldn't you? You wouldn't have had any heartache. You wouldn't have had any pain. You would have won the lottery by now. You would have had everything your little heart needed and desired. Why do you think you get chucked into the turmoil of this playground to learn spiritually and to grow mentally? That is not by having a cheat code. You did not pick this life. And I know a lot of you might not agree with that, but think about it logically. You would have had everything you wanted. I just can't believe sometimes, right, when like me arguments and people are like, oh, you're wrong. It's like, okay, yeah.
Some people say to me, well, Matt, why don't you as a medium try to cross them over? Why don't you as a medium try to help these souls?
A lot of people do, right? A lot of people try to help these wandering and trapped souls, but the problem that they realize very, very soon is, right, the spirit world will kind of effectively, through intrigue, if you, for example, right, let's just break this down. If you are somebody who is wanting to work alongside of the spirit world, and you believe in trapped souls, wandering spirits, and you get a genuine rush out of helping those souls, them spirits, do you think for 1 minute that the spirit world won't make it happen for you? Just like for me, when I go on my paranormal investigations and I want to see things and I see things and I capture things on evidence because I've asked to see it. Do you think for 1 minute that the spirit world would want to lose you as a person? No, they want you to keep you on the hook of intrigue. I call it like a hook because we're effectively like fish. The second you have a taste of energy, the second you have a taste of intrigue, you want to know more. Therefore, the spirit world are working with you in those moments. They are wanting to help you in those moments. So yes, of course, you are going to have, to those of you who've helped wandering and trapped souls, you are going to have trolls that'll be like, help, I'm trapped down the well, can you help me? And you're like, oh my God, there's a well over there. Let's do a clearing spell and see. Of course they want you. They'd rather have you on side than not have you working with them at all. Therefore, they will do things to, to kind of go with your narrative, so to speak. They're very crafty like that.
Well, what I've learned is this, and listen, you can disagree with me, but I've learned through my years of being a medium that if God can't even change those evil souls, how am I going to change those evil souls? Because the thing is that those evil souls have to want to change. And if you're truly evil and you did unthinkable, terrible things here in this world, chances are they don't want to change.
I mean, you've got to remember, right, when we're speaking about souls changing for each and every one of you, when you come back to this planet in a new vessel, right, you are a new person. A lot of people wonder this about when you come back to planet Earth, right? Because I know I've been here 7 times before. 7 times before. And a lot of you are like, well, actually, hang on. If I come back to planet Earth, then surely if I've learned stuff in my past life, I could bring it into this life. It's like a cheat code, isn't it? And a lot of you are like, oh, that would be cool, Jordan. How can you do that? Well, let us just tell you the blatant fact why the soul won't release this information to you unless you go looking for it. And even then, it doesn't like to give you it. Think about it like this. Take where you are now in life. Think of the heartache, the pain, the emotional turmoil, the suffering, the mental anguish that you've been through, the losses, the bereavements, the relationship breaks up, the roller coaster of a journey. That's just this life. Times that by 7. The most of you watching this now have been on this planet at least 7 times, at least. That's why the soul does a very good job of retaining that information and not giving it to you. You come to this planet as a new soul. I've heard this loads of times where people are like, oh, my past life, karma. And what you've got to remember is right, I once had a conversation with someone who was like fully believed in their heart that they had back problems because in a past life, they had suffered trauma. And I asked them, how do you know this information? if you don't mind us asking? And they were like, oh, because I had this medium who told us, and I'd done like a session with her, and she went through everything, Joe, and she was so meticulous. She went through everything. I says, right, okay, so out of what she said was evidential in this life. Oh, none of it. But it was past lives. I was like, so what they've said is they've told you something which you've now started to manifest. You've started to believe. And they were like, well, actually, now that you put it like that, that does make sense. Fun fact, the message is a week later, the pain in the back had gone. Oh, I must be like some sort of healing psychic. No, power of suggestion was strong with that one.
For example, I was just watching not too long ago this documentary about the most evil people here on earth that did terrible things. And they interviewed these people in prison, and they had.
I've got a fun fact for each and every one of you, right? When I first come onto YouTube, I do a lot of paranormal things, right? I love the paranormal, and you'll see in years to come, right? My paranormal things will be through the roof. You'll see us with my own TV show. But one of the very first ITC, instrumental transcommunication sessions I had, was with a gentleman by the name of Adolf, and I'm not going to say the last name because I'll probably get into trouble with YouTube, right? You all know who the person was, very controversial figure for the time. Now, a night before I went to do this ITC session, and I had started this series at the time called Interviews with the Dead. And a lot of you now think I'm crazy, but I don't know what happened to the videos for this entire series. I had done a few, but I think what happened was I had come from one YouTube channel to another YouTube channel, and I had lost a lot of the footage. So you're going to have to take us for face value with this. There might be some shorts, or there might be some content on this platform. I really can't remember, to be honest with you. But I'd done an interview, and what happened was the night before I'd done it, in my dream, that person come to us and said, you will interview me. And yes, spoke English, because why wouldn't he? You know, if a spirit world can speak any language they want, they're not confined to the limitations of the human mind. They can speak in whatever language. They can speak in energy. They can speak in love. They can speak in feeling, sense, all of these different things. Anyway, he says, you will come and you will interview me. And I was like, I woke up and I was just like, I don't know if I want to do this. Like, why? And I heard him saying, you are controversial, and so was I. And I was like, well, actually, that kind of makes quite a good point. And I kid you not, right? I'd done that interview, and that interview was absolutely phenomenal. I didn't really know much about the history. If I'm honest with you, I don't know much about history, right? I was never really that way inclined. I know it's probably a bad thing. Maybe I should have looked into it. But I kid you not, during that interview, it was an hour long, the interview, and I always remember this. I asked different questions that I thought I would ask a human being. And the remorse that come over. I said, how did you feel about some of the atrocities that were carried out in your name? Politics, right? And I think you just kind of all appreciate and understand in that time, you know, there would be, it's not like one person calls the shots and everyone does what they say. There's multiple different facets to politics. I also says, do you feel any remorse? And I personally started crying. I could feel it, and you could hear come through the equipment saying sorry. And it was just unreal. Like, seriously, I says on 3 different occasions, I tried catching them out. And there was even one point on it, right? It come on, the first words we went, now we speak. And I was just like, that is unreal. It sounded like a snippet taken from TV, from one of the poetic speeches, from one of the public speaking, because he actually talked a lot different. The more I looked into it, he talked different when he was off camera, but it was come through in that very dominant, you know, now we speak. And I was just like, wow, yes. I even says, what was your name? And even the first name come out, and I was like, oh, well, that could be a coincidence. And then straight away the second name, and I was like, well, by that point, I was engrossed in it. And I tried catching out on 3 different occasions, and it said 3 different things that were just categoric, evidential. Like, I had to Google it, I had to look it up. I was like, whoa, he's just said where he'd love to be. He's just said all of these things. It's going to be amazing. This video needs to be seen by the world. But unfortunately, the old channel that I had, along with all of my other paranormal, I thought when I migrated from one channel to the next, I had backed everything up. and I hadn't, unfortunately. So you're going to have to take that one at face value. Unless there's some of you on the channel who have actually seen that video before, you might have actually know what I'm talking about. There might even be some shorts on this platform. I honestly couldn't tell you.
Had no remorse. It's almost like they had no soul because they were just so evil to their core that not even after years of being in prison did it change them.
And the point I was trying to make there, right, is we're talking there about how souls don't change and humans don't change. But the problem is you've got to remember the soul is the soul. The person might not change. The person's not allowed to change. They are a product of their environment. They have become the person, the being that they are through the conditioning that they've had. They can't change. A leopard doesn't change its spots. When it comes to energy, though, however,
but what I want you to know is this: evil souls can't hurt you on the other side. Excuse me, I should say in limbo, right?
Evil spirits can't hurt you. Full stop. There is not one evil spirit on this planet. However, if you believe that evil spirits can hurt you, then you are welcoming that ideology in your world, and you, unfortunately, are going to be the downfall.
I don't know if limbo is the correct word. You can call it whatever you want. Over the years, people have had experiences with negative souls. Some people call it hell. Some people call it limbo. Some people call it stuck. Some call it the in-between. There's all different words, but I like to call it low vibrational spirits, souls that don't transition over or cross over.
And when we're speaking about low transitional, there's loads of people, right, everyone, who have different theories, different ideas. And again, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying Matt's right. There's going to be somebody who has and comes up with the newest and greatest of linguistical, words and terminologies and makes it that one. But listen, the point of the matter is everything in this planet is vibrations. So you are going to have people who will say that the evil spirits are lower vibrations because they are demonic. They're from hell. So they're working their way up the vibrational scale. The problem is it doesn't work like that. It's all vibrations.
And what I can tell you about these souls is that the same way that an evil person here in this world tries to stop you and block you within life, that's what evil spirits want to do on the other side. Their goal isn't to hurt you or to haunt you per se. Their goal on the other side is to scare you. Their goal and the reason why they want to connect with you and talk with you is that they want to stop you from living your best life.
I mean, I get where you're coming from with that, Matt, right? And to every one of you, I get why that would be the general consensus among man, that there are energies out there that want to prevent you from becoming the greatest version of yourself. But I personally see that as a get-out clause. The fact that we can say that there are energies that are going to prevent us from becoming the greatest versions that we could ever be, we are putting a mental block in the way of us progression. We are already making excuses for why we aren't going to succeed in this life. I personally, right, I get the logic and I understand 100%, right, where and why people would believe this. The problem is the truth and the reality is mankind are the ones that hold ourselves back. Our understandings at best are what suppress us. Other human beings are going to prevent you from becoming the best version of yourself because they don't want you to become the greatest version of yourself. Not the spirit world, not the energy realms, not the realms. They don't need to destroy your world. Mankind do a very good job of destroying it themselves, truth be told.
They want to stop you from meeting your soulmate. They want to fill your head with disbelief, fear, sadness, all of those negative emotions. And what I can tell you is,
I mean, them negative emotions are a product of the mind. We all have self-doubt problems. We all have confidence issues. We all have them. That's not because it's implanted and impregnated into the brain by evil energies or evil entities that want you to fail. It's because it's part of who you are. You have to refine this as a person. You have to become confident. If you are somebody who is very shy, for example, and you accept and believe that you are shy as a person because there's evil demonic entities that are making you shy, well, you're never going to fix that problem, are you? You're always going to accept that you are shy. However, if we say, well, actually, hang on a minute, I'm shy. What am I going to do about it? Well, I'm going to first accept that I am responsible for my life. I am fully accountable for the actions that I make. I know that I am shy, so I'm going to start going out into public. I'm going to start. This is what we should be looking at, not finding ways and
And this is
means
what's so
to bring
beautiful.
an
This is
excuse
what
to a
every
world.
evil spirit doesn't want you to know. Ready? Listen to me when I tell you this. They cannot get into your life unless you let them. So what I mean,
I do fully believe that with what you've just said. In your own words, I fully believe that, right? You have to let evil spirits into your world. The ideology of there being evil spirits is the first step. You believing that they are in your world. What you choose to accept is what you welcome into your world. If you are wanting to choose and accept that there are negative energies around you, what's happening? You are conditioning yourself to believe it. I tell every one of you who are wanting to become mediums, do not watch the Paranormal Activity. Do not watch The Conjuring. Do not Robert the Doll. Do not watch any of these programs that are there to terrorize the living. Why do you think they do that? Because they make good money from it. It's entertainment, baby. That's what it's all about.
mean by that is that you are closely guarded. You have angels, guides, and loved ones that are with you always. Your angels, your loved ones, and your spirit guides are with you right now. They're watching over you right now, right at this exact moment, and each of them have a
And yet they are, indeed. I fully agree with that. So go and subscribe over to Matt's channel. And remember, if you love this spirit world like I do, and I would imagine Matt does, drop a like on this video.
it has a different role within your life. Your guides are keeping you on your roadmap in life. They're helping you to meet that soulmate. They're helping you to meet the people in your life that are going to be influential. Your angels are there helping you through the really emotional times that you're being faced with. And your loved ones in spirit are there hugging you from the other side, being a part of that success and helping you in whatever way that they can.
Well said. The spirit world are by each and every one of your sides, chaperoning you through the most troublesome of times. Remember, they are there watching, they are proud of each and every one of you, and all they want to do is to communicate with you to let you know that they are all right on the other side. Unfortunately, there is a lot of mankind's ideologies that are there and destined to stop you. You have paywalls, people not giving you the teachings for free. I've got, on my platform, we have the full how to become a psychic medium series. Look at all the content I have. I've got thousands of videos to help each and every one of you. The spirit world work with me very, very closely. You know, they want to help each and every one of you. And by helping each and every one of you, sometimes you need an understanding that is going to serve you.
But what I want you to know is that here's where things go wrong. Where things go wrong with the other side is that people think that to connect with the other side, that you have to use certain objects or certain tools. For example, spirit boxes. No.
Right. Hang on. Let me just break this down a bit. We do have many different forms of ITC. And when the spirit world, like what Matt just referred to there, using different tools to communicate, the only one that I would suggest that none of you use is an Ouija board. Because you aren't communicating with the spirit world, you are communicating with the realms. The realms are very good at telling you what you need to know in those moments to believe. And I know that sounds very callous and very sus to a lot of us, but there's a reason in which to do it. They want to win your trust. They want to work with you just like the spirit world do. Ouija boards are a no-no, not because they're dangerous, not because they're harmful, but just for the exact same reason. If I said to you, get behind the wheel of a car with no lessons and drive as fast as you can, you'd say I was a lunatic, and you'd say, no, of course I wouldn't. So why do people think that it's acceptable to just use an Ouija board with no education, no understanding of what's going to happen? You get what I'm saying? Yeah, you can see why I'm saying that. Spirit boxes, portals. Oh, you'll love the portal I've just designed, where the spirit world can communicate through. Absolutely awesome. Give the spirit world a voice. I can work mediumistically on a paranormal investigation, but before I go into it, I ask spirit not to channel me, not to use my clairsenses, my extra sensory perceptions. I ask the spirit world not to use any of them, just so I can show each and every one of you with evidence the power of the spirit world.
Ouija boards, big no.
Yeah,
what I
Ouija
want
boards.
you to know is that you already have a connection to your angels, guides, and loved ones. It's with you. That's why when psychics and mediums do a reading, what happens is that if you're not in front of me, if you're not either online with me or on the phone with me or in front of me, I can't connect with you. I can't connect with your loved ones in spirit. Because at the end of
There's quite a bit of truth in that, right? And what you've got to understand is a medium has to place their intent. The intent is what initiates the call to the spirit world. I say a call. We're going back to the mobile phone analogy. If there is no intent there, the medium's just living out their earthly existence. Therefore, they need to have you in front of them. They need to have a phone call. They need to have something with you to engage that initial connection. Otherwise, it's not going to work, is it? So I fully agree, Matt.
Of the day, I'm using your connection to speak messages to your loved ones. When you come
100%.
to see me as a medium, you got to remember that you bring your loved ones to me. I don't bring them to you. You provide the connection because your loved ones are watching over you, proud of you, with you always.
100%.
But the scary part is this. The scary part with the other side is that souls can come into your life that are unwanted if you invite them in. So how
I mean, what you choose to accept is what you welcome into your world. So technically, it does have a point there.
do you invite them in? Well, it's about opening yourself up and opening the door to those evil energy vibrations. For example, when you play with a Ouija board or a spirit box, or you go to somewhere haunted, your angels, guides, and loved ones can't help you. Now, they're helping.
Oh, well, they definitely can't help me then. I'm only joking. They're always with me. I mean, them are the bloody ones who tell us the voices in my head, you know?
You every day. What I mean by that is that your angels, guides, and loved ones are making sure that evil spirits can't come into your life. They can't just open the door to your house and come in and start haunting you. It doesn't happen. But the reason why you hear of doorways or psychic doorways being opened or portals being opened is because you open them.
Right, let's just talk about something there. Psychic portals in general. Right, let's just put something out there for the populace to actually hear. A lot of you believe in portals. A lot of you believe that somebody with a specific intent could conjure up energy based on whatever understanding they've given themselves, whatever connection they believe they have. Now, let me just be blunt, frank, and to the point. Portals are a manifestation of mankind's want, needs, and desires. Human beings believe that they have the power to summon the spirit world. They have the power through their connection to be able to manifest the spirit world in a portal. The problem is you are a human being. You lack the ability to control energy. Energy is already around us. It's omnipresent, like the air that we breathe. We've said it earlier on in this video. Therefore, you don't need to create a portal. If you want to communicate with spirit, it's already there, my friends. It's literally already there. You don't make portals. So many people don't believe that there are such things as portals, and you can make them by chanting a certain line or speaking a specific ritual. At best, what you are doing is, in those moments of you doing that act, you, through your intent, are placing and asking the spirit world to work with you in that moment. You're not making a portal. You're effectively just working with the spirit world, which we know they want to work with each and every one of you. So I do believe, technically, in some cases, what Matt's saying is accurate.
You might be like, Matt, that's crazy. How did I open a portal? Well, remember, evil can't enter into your life.
Because if somebody likes of me or Matt tell you you've opened up a portal, your world crumbles. Having a good understanding supersedes the notion of protection.
Unless you let them. Now, evil spirits don't want you to know this. They're pissed right now that I'm making this video, and they're so angry right now that I'm saying this because I'm sharing with you a secret that not many people know. And that is that the only way that evil spirits can come into your life and wreak havoc in your life is if you invite them in. So
I totally agree with that, to be completely honest with you, right? Not with the evil spirit side of it, but it's like anything in mediumship, psychic development, personal development. If you welcome something into your world through your own knowledge gaps, then of course it's going to become a problem to you. Of course. Totally agree.
When you play with the Ouija board, when you play with the spirit box, when you play with something like that, you're inviting in those souls. How are you inviting in those souls? Well, I'm going to share with you how. Because what happens with the other side is it's just like leaving your door open. You can have an alarm system in your house, but if you go and you leave it off and you open your front door, anybody can come in and rob you and hurt you or wreak havoc to your family. right? That same thing happens with you. You have angels, guides, and loved ones that are there that are protecting you always from evil. But if you play with the Ouija board or a spirit box, you open that door and you invite them in.
I mean, what you've got to understand is that theory, right? When we are speaking about opening the door, if you have the right intent and you have the right neighbors in that location, then you're only going to invite the right people in, aren't you? With the right intent. So I think I can see where Matt's going with the analogy, right? And that is a stereotypical thing. You leave your front door open, loads of evil people are going to come in. But let's not push away the fact that if those people who lived in the vicinity in the area had the best of interests for you, then it would be all right, wouldn't it? I know, like, our opinions are very, very different, right? And I hope you can see, right? I mean, look at the paranormal stuff I do, right? I mean, Matt might see this and start dousing us with holy water or something, right? But the thing is, right, I'm non-religious. I prove what I prove. I work with the energies that I work with. And to me, one of the biggest things that we have a problem with here on planet Earth is the inability to accept problems that we cause ourselves. Rather than accepting that we are sick, we are, in some cases, we are disturbed, we have some mental things that go on within the human brain, we are set and designed to fail. Rather than accepting that, we like to point the finger straight away at the spirit world. They always get the blame for it. Evil spirits, demons, all of this, always get the blame for it without accepting
and you bypass your
accountability.
angels, guides, and loved ones protection because you personally are opening yourself up to this. So going looking for ghosts, going paranormal investigating, all of those things can open you up. How do I know this? Well, I'll tell you.
I'm bloody opened up to it, all my friends. I'm genuinely am. I've said it at the beginning of this video. I work with all energy. I don't
There
discriminate.
have
I
been
love
only
it.
3 significant readings in my life where people have experienced evil spirits and extreme hauntings. And what the one thing that I've noticed about all 3 of these readings,
Extreme hauntings can be scary to a lot of people. And that's why at Help Heal Serve we do the Help Heal Serve paranormal house calls, where we come and we don't remove energy, but we give you an understanding to work with the energy. Because let's be honest, energy was, a lot longer than us.
is that they've done something that they weren't supposed to do. They picked up a spirit box, they played with the Ouija board, they went to a place known to have paranormal activity and dark evil souls, and they provoked those spirits and they let them in. And then they had to learn how to get rid of them, and I had to help them. But I'm making this video because I want to warn you. I want to warn you that you don't need Ouija boards, spirit boxes, any of those things to connect with loved ones. And I'm really scared because on TikTok,
yeah, I've got to openly admit as well, you don't need any of those things. You are the conduit. You are the between to the spirit world. What sets you apart is the understanding. We can give you all of the tools that you need. We can give you the blueprints to forge your own unique understanding to the spirit world. I would recommend each and every one of you, right? If you are wanting to use Ouija boards, you're wanting to use spirit boxes, you're wanting to use any of these different devices, right? I've got full tutorials on the channel. But in the first instance, gain an understanding. Gain at least a smidgen of an understanding so you know what you're working with.
And on YouTube and on all these places, I see people getting more and more into paranormal investigating. And listen, I'm all for paranormal investigators. Many of them follow me here on my channel. But I'll tell you, and leave it in the comments if you're a paranormal investigator, because they will be the first to tell you that you have
I'll not put it in the comments. I'll not put what I do
to
in the
know
comments.
what you're doing. Paranormal investigators keep themselves very grounded, very protected. They
Complete opposite, man. I gotta be open and honest with you. I do not protect. I do not ground. I do not follow any of this stereotypical, nonsensical notions of mankind. I don't need to do any of this. I don't need to conform. For myself, just being aware and conscious of the energy is enough for me to be able to embrace everything that it is. I don't need to have any fear. And I get what you're saying about paranormal, right? It's not your thing. It's not down your street, right? But some of us thrive in it, just like how you thrive in helping people to heal. I do as well. but I also thrive in being put into paranormal lockdowns and investigations and proven with evidence of the afterlife. Because you say that we're not so different, me and Matt, right? We both want to prove with evidence of the afterlife. Matt does it in his way. I do it in my way. My way is doing readings and proven with evidence through paranormal investigations of the afterlife. And Matt has his way where he likes to do readings, and I would imagine he'll probably do other things on the side as well. But there's no right or wrong way of working with the spirit world. I think personally it comes down to your preference.
They know how to shield themselves against evil spirits and
I do. I know how to shield myself from evil spirits by not believing in such a thing, right? By having the power of suggestion removed from your thought process, it eliminates any shadow of doubt.
negative souls. And there's a lot that goes into it, a lot of rituals that they do, a lot of psychic protection that they do.
Rituals, I do believe that rituals are a bit of a problem. Because, again, I think rituals, the best thing about a ritual is to place your intent in those moments. I think a lot of people, when they don't know what they're doing and they start doing rituals, start working alongside and placing their intent, because basically a ritual, right, whilst rituals can only manifest through your own belief, what you want to see. But if you do a ritual, say a satanic ritual, right, and that ritual has been created with intent to communicate with a specific energy, for example, the sixth realm, or maybe it's the first realm, well, second realm, because first realm would be spirit. But if it's been created with that primary intent and focus, you as an individual, when you go to use it, if you start acting it out, whilst it isn't technically working, you are still placing your intent in those moments through your actions. So you have got to be very careful when it comes to doing rituals.
There's things that you don't see before they do their paranormal investigating. But people who go,
not speaking about me, you just literally see everything I do. I skip into places, no protection. I'm just a different breed.
on TikTok and just, pick up a spirit box or a Ouija board and try to connect with these evil souls, what they're not realizing is that they're opening a door that they don't know what is on the other side. Now, let me tell you, it doesn't always happen. Sometimes you can open up a Ouija board, play with the Ouija board, and can be completely fine. Because the only time an evil soul can enter is if there's an evil soul in the room or in the place that you are.
The only problem I find with that, Matt, is my belief is the spirit world or energy. Energy is in abundance like the air that we breathe. So irrespective, and just proof to what I'm saying here, right? I can do a reading, as I'd imagine you could do a reading for someone at the other side of the world. The spirit world are everywhere, right? So in that respect, right, it's my personal opinion that energy, evil souls, to which you've just mentioned, is always around you. It's when you place your intent, you start and initiate a conversation. They're already there. And that's one of the biggest things with me, right? A lot of people are scared of there being evil spirits in specific places. They're scared of this, they're scared of that. Obviously, it comes down to the understanding. I don't believe any of that nonsense anyway, but a lot of people are terrified. And they will never work with the spirit world because they believe that there are spirits that are there to harm them. And it's that's why it does really, like, for me, I just can't accept it.
But what I can tell you is, after playing with Ouija boards or spirit boxes over a certain amount of time, if you're in the vicinity of an evil soul, they will try to come in. So here's the reason why we don't talk to evil.
See, the thing is all right, for me, the way that I see it, right, it's you are a magnet. And you will naturally, through your intent, attract energies. For example, I attract the realms. I work with the realms. And it's not because I'm special, but it's, again, coming back to the magnet frequency, where we are attracting. A lot of people use the, liken it to when you manifest something in this world. And you do that. I forgot what it's called, Spirit. What's it called? Where people want to focus all of their attention to manifest something to happen in the way that they want it. They will religiously do this until they manifest it. But yet they don't realize they are achieving their goals through hard work. They think it's because of the manifestation techniques they have made it happen. No, you haven't made it happen like that. You have actually worked hard. You have worked hard to get there. So yeah,
evil spirits. Because you know how I talked about how your angels, guides, and loved ones want to do all these amazing things for you. They want to open doors for you and help you meet your soulmate and help attract money into your life and health into your life and all of these things. Evil spirits want the opposite. They want to fill your head with doubt. They want to fill your head with anxiety. They want to fill your head with disbelief. And they don't want you. They don't want.
See, the problem is with what we've just said there, right? And you've got to see it from where I see it, right? A lot of these things can be attributed to medical conditions. There is no evidence there. It's just a case of, we're giving people excuses. We are saying, well, it's, and that is the problem with it for me, right? When there are so many attributes to negative attachments that could be of a medical concern, to me, that is a problem, because people should be going and seeking the medical help and the professional help that they need, rather than believing that they've just got this negative energy attached to them. And it can be dangerous. Personally, I think it can be dangerous when people don't get the help.
Any way, shape, or form to succeed in life. They want to block you from meeting your soulmate. They want to destroy your marriage and your relationship. They want you to have issues with your kids. Just like evil people, evil spirits thrive off of negativity. They thrive off of negative energy.
Again, we're coming back into the concept of the being, the good and the bad, the yin, the yang, the ching and the chong, the up and the down, the positive, the negative, coming back from the earthly elements to which we coexist in. To me, it's just...
That's the reason why when you're fighting with someone who's negative here in this world, you get drained and they get a high off of it because they feed off of that energy. They don't like the good energy. They feed off of evil energy, negative energy, and they want to pull you down.
100%. There are human beings that are like energy vampires, I call them, right? They will just literally drain your energy reserves until they have the very last drop. But again, we are speaking about human beings living out their sensory existence. We aren't speaking about energy in this. And this is where, for me, it gets so murky, because we are so familiar with the world that we live in, we are likening it to the spirit world. Again, we can't do any of this in spirit. That is the reason why we come down and accommodate a vessel, so we can go through these experiences. Therefore, the spirit world isn't like...
So that's the reason why I refuse to talk to evil spirits as a medium. Because I know that they're trying one thing, that if they come through during a reading or try to come through, right, or if we try to contact them, I know that they're going to deceive us. I know that they're going to give us bad information. They're going to...
No, right. Stop. Matt, don't give... There are a lot of mediums on this planet who are very, very bad indeed. Don't give them an excuse, mate. Don't start saying that there's evil spirits telling them bad information, because we're having enough of a fight on our hands to make this look serious as it is. Raising the standards, raising the bar, by telling mankind that there are evil spirits that tell you the wrong information. It's giving them a new get-out clause. It really is. It really is. Please don't say that.
They're going to try to hold us back. They're going to try to do all these things. So why would we talk to them? Why would we talk to evil spirits if their whole goal is to screw up our life? Well, so that's the reason why I only talk to the higher vibration. What you don't see before I do readings, before I do events, before I do television shows, is that when I'm doing readings, beforehand, I pray morning, afternoon, and night. I sage, I cleanse the energy. I invite all the good ascended masters, angels, and loved ones here in this office. And this is a very sacred and peaceful place.
So you've just heard there, Matt does a lot of, humanistic rituals that he feels comfortable doing. But because Matt does them, does that mean that each and every one of you have to do them? No, you don't need to do them. A good understanding supersedes the notion of protection. And now I'm not saying that I have a better understanding than Matt, because he's clearly a lot wealthier than me. He's done this a lot longer. He's along the Hollywood entertainment circle. But you've got to understand, right? For example, Matt might do 5 or 6 different rituals before he does a reading. And let's be honest, right? He's doing it on TV, he's doing all these different things. So it makes sense for him to have these sorts of mindfulness exercises before he does something like this. So he can detach and he can speak for spirit. 100%. Totally agree with that. He's not doing like what we're doing, because I'm not standing in front of cameras. I would never stand in front of cameras. I'm not going to ever do that. When I've got my paranormal TV show, yes. Mediumship, no. I've told you the reason why. It's because it's not for entertainment. It's the same as doing tarot. It's the same as doing all of these different facets of helping people to be able to heal. I don't believe it's there for it to be a public spectacle. I don't believe it was ever intended to be like that. People have to be able to get the comfort, the healing that they need in any given moment in the comfort of their own home with the correct aftercare. Therefore, I won't do that. But each and every one of you, just take a second and think. If Matt does 5 different cleanses, just say, for example, 5 different cleanses. Could be more, could be less. In a meditation. There's probably about 30 minutes of Matt's time taken up before he even starts channeling spirit. Therefore, we take away the notions of why there is needed protection in the first place, and Matt has an extra 30 minutes of helping people. That's the way I see it. It's all about time management. If we can cut away the things we don't need, straight into it. Like I say, if you are somebody who follows, what Matt's saying, then I don't mean any offense. I just like to let people know that you don't have to do that. That's all.
It's a place that only the good souls can enter. And I want to share that with all of you as well. Because the scary part is that when you go on TikTok and you see all these people doing these things, and by the way, you can watch scary TV shows, you can watch scary movies, you can watch other people do it on TikTok. It's not going to affect you or your energy. But if you...
There is a lot of people that do it on TikTok, and it is horrendous. I've seen so many people who've stood at graves shouting at them. And it really, really winds me up. It shows the level of caliber of person that they are. They're going into a graveyard that's a functional graveyard with fresh graves with flowers on them. And they're recording them. Nancy, come to your grave. And it's like, you absolute douchebag. Imagine having no empathy doing that.
You take part in those things, then you're opening yourself up to those evil spirits. So I want you to know, don't let negative energy in. Don't let evil spirits in. The world is stressful enough. Your life is stressful enough. We have enough negative people here in this world that we don't have to let in evil souls.
And like what Matt just said there, we have enough negative, evil people. It's the negativity, it's the individuals on this planet who are going to negatively influence you to believe in such thing as negative souls. So if we can eliminate the thought process that takes place, the rational thinking of a human being that actually dots A, B, C, D, all the way to Z, if we can take away the elements of fear, we can take away the uncertainties, and we can just make it a uniformed way of thinking when it comes into working alongside of the spirit world, then guess what? We can eliminate any fear that we have. Good understanding supersedes the notion of protection. We don't need to protect because we know and understand that the spirit world and the realms are not like what have been depicted by Hollywood and entertainment. I say Hollywood all the time. It's not really Hollywood. It's just entertainment.
So I want to let you know that although it might be tempting, although sometimes we think it might be fun to do for Halloween and things like that, don't do it. It's actually funny. I was in Vegas.
Better not tell them about the 12 Days to Halloween series we've just done, Matt, where we showed people how to connect.
Vegas recently, and when one of the managers from the Venetian came to pick me up, they were like, Matt, we have this amazing opportunity for you. I guess they have like this most haunted museums in the world with like all these things that are evil and like evil dolls and evil things where like spirits have possessed and whatnot. They're like, you're gonna love it. Why don't you come and go? I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I'm like, I'm not stepping foot in that place. And they're like, well, you're a psychic medium. Like, isn't that your thing? And I'm like, no, I only talk to the good vibrational souls. And they were like, well, what's wrong with talking to the bad? And I explained this to them, and they were like, I never even thought about that. So guys, stay away from those places, because those evil souls, those negative souls, they're pulling you away from your spiritual journey, right?
I mean, what we're going to do is we're going to bring it to an end there, right? I mean, bloody hell. I mean, we're at, how long have we been recording for now? Now we'll just have a little look. 1 hour and 49 minutes, and this is only a 20-minute clip.